everyone, Alexander Gill here. Hope you're all keeping well. Excuse the massive spot on my forehead. I promise I've been through puberty and I'm not sure what's happened today, but he thought I'd come and say hello. So we've got a little guest with us. So today I wanted to talk about two things with you. So what I've been learning about is procrastination and extreme ownership. So when I say extreme ownership, the word extreme itself, it's quite harsh hitting for some people. It can even be radical, or there's other words out there, but the way I see it is actually taking ownership. So when I talk about extreme ownership, I've just finished a whole book on it where it talks about Navy SEALs and their whole extreme ownership. It means where you don't say that it's another person's fault. So when you say, you make me mad, or you made me feel that, you're not actually taking extreme ownership of your own life. So there's a few elements that you can break down in terms of extreme ownership. What are your subconscious habits? What are your actions? And there's a few layers that we've spoke about in previous videos. But in essence, it is like, what are you taking extreme ownership of? Because a good way to think about it is to live in days, to be present, to work in months, to think in years, and then to dream in decades or half decades. A great thing that one of my mentors shared with me was to actually think in half decades, in the aspect of where do I want to be in 5 years from now, and work my way backwards. Well, I've got no idea why this isn't taught at school, because it's a game changer. It's like you come out of school where you should have self-confidence and know who you are, but instead you come out questioning your failures, where failure should actually be celebrated because you've learned something, rather than a failure being, okay, well, you've not gathered enough information and given enough attention to that point. Maybe school isn't for everybody because then it's not explained to you what you're doing at school, why you're there. Like, I was quite naughty at school because I played up. I didn't really understand what I was doing there. The teachers weren't really inclusive. Some of them are great, some of them changed my life, but some of them gave me use for my coursework. It's like, how do you motivate a kid? Like, what, go home and in your spare time, even though you spent 8 hours of your 24 hours at school, you've also got to do this coursework. It's like, why can't you cover everything there? Why don't you talk about tactics, how to breathe and how to get through emotions, all of these types of things. So I wanted to talk a bit about extreme ownership. So what are you taking ownership for in your life? You own your life. You are the victor, not the victim of your life. So for guys, you're a Viking. You're not a victim. For ladies, you're a victor. So take your life and take it by the reins and be the person you want to be. Joe Rogan talks about being the actor in your own film. So you're the protagonist of your film. So make it any film you want to be, but take ownership of that person and who you want to be. A great psychologist, Adler, actually talks about living in the present and looking in the future, because I agree to a certain extent. The things that have happened in your past, they have helped shape who you are currently. But he says, no matter what has occurred in your life up until this point, it should have no bearing on at all how you go on from now. So another way of thinking about this is, what have you decided on? What have you taken ownership of? So a decision is where you murder your options. As a human, we have a thing called the law of least effort. We will always go to whatever is the least effort. It's a law, like law of gravity. When you decide on something, you have killed the back door. You know that you're going in it. Even like, you might have a conversation in your head where they're saying, you know, I'll do this just in case. There's a whole nother talk I can do on fear and rejection and these types of things. But in essence, deciding is murdering your options. So to move on from being decided, juxtapose this is procrastination, because that's actually going towards your destination. Procrastination, we've all procrastinated. But what I've really enjoyed learning about this week was that we do this because our mind works in loops. So if we see the loop as too big in our mind, it's a bit too of an audacious goal, we won't be able to do it, and it's just too much that we procrastinate. And so this is where it comes from. So it's called the Zeigarnik effect. So where you break it up into small incremental steps or actions, and that's how you conquer the loop. So we do it because the loop is too big. So I want to change the world. I want to, get rid of all of people who need food in terms of like supplying it and all of this type of thing. That's too much of a big loop. You can start off by, okay, who am I supplying to? My outer circle, my family, and then you go in loops. So this is what they say. So Jim Quick says, inch by inch, it's a cinch. Yard by yard, it's way too hard. So break these little things down. So break, sorry, the larger tasks into littler tasks, smaller tasks. So this is where consistency is key. So it's little things. So small, seemingly insignificant steps done daily over time result in radical changes. So knowing this and knowing that your words are your fertilizer, what ownership are you going to take for your future? I'd love to know what you're up to, so feel free to comment on here or even send me an email. So my email is alex@buddy.com.au, so that's bud-e.com.au. And yeah, I hope this helps somebody. Cheers.